So this is where I'm giving sample ideas just to get you started from mine. Aha, there it is. Why did I do that? That was dumb. What a goober. Anyway, so let's say with my discipline of language arts, how do I want to make those things happen? So, once again, I'm an Andrew Pudewa fangirl. Aww. And if you really want to learn a lot about language arts, go listen to every podcast of his that you can get your hands on. Especially the ones, there's a series he did. There's like one on listening, one on speaking, one on reading, one on writing, one on thinking. Those would be, I highly recommend. Also his Raising Communicators. Anything he does, but those would be some great ones to get started and would explain a lot of where my ideas came from. I synthesize. Reading aloud to your children. That would be my first step of methodology for teaching language arts. And it's something, others do anyway. So that's nice. We do recitation, so they memorize like poetry or speeches and recite them. So that's part of our methodology. Learning to read, so using phonics, a phonics program. I've tried a few, have favorites, but that's for you to find. Those aren't too hard to find. Penmanship's important to me. So, you might add, just teaching them how to write letters, having them work on penmanship so it's legible, that kind of thing. We do a lot of narration. That's a Charlotte Mason thing. And I don't know the name of the best Charlotte Mason book I read, but if you look up Complete Charlotte Mason, that's not it. Podcasts are great with, I'm lost. Anyway, I'll come back to that. Elocution is, they have we use the McGuffey reader set, and they have to practice reading something aloud and be able to do it with less than 2 mistakes, 2 or less, to be able to pass. At a certain age group, not always, but that's been part of my methodology for language arts. Going through the Structure and Style program by Institute for Excellence in Writing has been a huge part of our methodology. For literature, the methodology is to read living books. Living books is a term from Charlotte Mason, and talking about them, narrating them. Another great teacher for literature is called Teaching the Classics. Makes sense why that would be a classic. Adam Andrews and Center for Lit. There's a longer name, but they go by that. The Teaching the Classics is a classic of being able to read literature and discuss it and kind of process it. But a lot of it's just reading. So that really is our methodology for literature, is to read living books and either write about them or discuss them. For math, working through the math books for Matthew C. is my main methodology, but I also have, for memory, I didn't write about memorizing other stuff. For memory, obviously, I don't think I'm bad saying obviously here. It really is. The math tables, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, those are things you have to memorize, so that makes sense. So that's part of my methodology, is to memorize those tables. Part of my methodology is to call attention to math in real life. I do that a lot just to annoy them. I'm like, math is everywhere. Math in everyday life. So, annoy your children when you can. Teaching them to track their accounting. I have the old school accounting pages and with the columns, and you write in what you've spent, what you've earned. They do that. Those are things that we do for math. Let's see. I hope you're getting the idea. So for like social studies, history, your methodology might be to go through a certain series of history books. I've heard really good things about sunlight, but haven't used them. I use Truth Quest history, kind of a guide, and they give lists of living books to choose from, and we read those. So that's been my methodology, is just to go through all the Truth Quest series. I don't know how much more I need to say about that, but part of your methodology might be, I'm going to make a timeline with the children, or we're going to have a timeline and refer to it a lot, or we're going to use a lot of maps and fill in, and you might, for memory work, you might want to memorize the states and capitals, the countries of a continent or of the whole world. Classical Conversations does that a lot. Memorize the branches of government. We memorize the preamble of the Constitution because, again, classic Schoolhouse Rock history videos, they have the preamble, and so I can sing it right now if I need to. So, what is your methodology for social studies? You might be into maps. You might be into, cooking a native food, or, of every country you study. Whatever, you really enjoy, that will bring it to life and help cement it here for you and your children. Foreign language immersion is ideal. We don't all get that. I hate that languages get lost in a generation. I'm like, if you speak a different language, yeah, I do believe if you're in America, you need to speak English. But I hate that languages are lost. I'm like, if my ancestors had just spoken 2 languages at home, I would know German and Swedish right now, which would be awesome. To know those without trying, because I'd heard them my whole life, I would love that. I know 1 language. So immersion would be the methodology, but besides that, you might go, well, my methodology is to use Rosetta Stone, or what's one? Duolingo is one I think a couple of my grown children just started. If you can find a tutor, that would be your methodology. And so you memorize words. In music, my methodology is to let my mom do it. Yay! One less thing for me. So the Suzuki method is what I would have loved to have used with my children. Didn't know about it until pretty far on, and then just couldn't really find anyone in my area. So, and my mom does it and does a good job. For the arts also, saturation is a big one. Charlotte Mason talks about, putting up paintings by one artist and kind of having them up for a long time, and then maybe switching to a different painting by that same artist. And so you're saturating their environment with this one person so that they can recognize it and kind of see similarities and things. So saturation is one of my methodology points. What else? For life skills, I have 3 points to my methodology: observation, training, and practice. That's all I've been able to come up with, but it's been enough, so I'm happy with that. So hopefully I have talked about my own self for 9 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm sorry, but if it helps, great.